Hey guys, it's Maxie here and welcome to their first TEW video in our tournament mode as we head into, first off, the Cruiserweight Classic, then the Tag Team Invitational for the Mae Young Classic and of course the World Grand Prix. So tonight we'll see 16 of our top Cruiserweights competing in knockout action. We'll also see obviously some main eventers to make sure we get a good rating, we don't lose any popularity, and we'll obviously see our marquee women's athletes as well. So hopefully you guys have got your predictions there, who you think will be the king of the cruiserweights this time. Of course, Neville has won it twice, Chad Gable once, as we seek to crown our fourth Cruiserweight Classic winner. And of course, because of the suspension of Xavier Woods, the next Cruiserweight champion. So before we jump in, as always, much appreciate you taking the time out to watch a video. Any likes, comments, subscriptions, all that jazz, deeply appreciated. Let us know what you think of this series, what you think of your own saves, wrestling in general, and you can check out the people on the Fantasy Booker subreddit and Grey Dog software forums. We, however, have a lot of segments to get through, so let's crack on. 63,255 in the Qualcomm Stadium, and it's Shane McMahon just basically saying welcome to the Cruiserweight Classic. 16 of the top athletes representing not only SmackDown, but the Cruiserweight division is, but Raw as well, and they could possibly move to the home of the Cruiserweights should they win this tournament. So B plus 88 show off to a strong start. Delightful. Opening contest saw the home native Rey Mysterio in action, but he did lose in a decent match. Nice match to start the show off as he loses to Zack Sabre Jr. in 12-16 by submission with the senior stretch. A B-76, just a feel-good moment for the crowd, seeing their home hero, but unfortunately, off his game, declining physical ability, and the better athlete wins on the day, progressing Zack Sabre Jr. to the last 8. A lot of negatives there for Ray. Next up, we had a bout that had decent wrestling, but not a lot of heat. Flamita defeated Akuma in 9:34 with a Fly Flame, a B-76. Good win for my tag team partners, but Flamita picks up the win as he progresses to the quarterfinals. And then, about that had some subpar wrestling, a little heat. Matt Riddle picks up a good win over Jack Gallagher in 10-20 with a guillotine choke, really putting across a lot of submission finishers in this tournament. But a C plus 70, good win for Matt Riddle. Could this kickstart his career? 70 there for him, 57, but Riddle is looking stale. Then the man of the hour. We all remember him if you watched my We Are Wrestling save from TW13. The man that is Pavel Kirkin. He's been in development for so long. He is still in development, but we decided to call him up, give us a little feel-good moment for those who remember the hero that is Pavel Kirkin. And in fact, in a terrible match, he defeats Cedric Alexander in 7:55 after using a foreign object. Disappointing D plus 48, he's not over at all. It did cool the crowd a little and we had to really protect Cedric, who wasn't happy, but hey, Pavel Kirkin, man. He's only just getting started in this save. Next up, we had a match that didn't really click, but it was the former Toros, or I think it's Gran Guerrero, if I've done my research correctly, who's now been debuted as Mystique in our save. He defeats Leo Rush in 8:05 with the Guerrero special. C plus 69. They don't click, but I had to fit them in somewhere. And it's Mystique who progresses to the quarterfinal stage. We then had some decent wrestling, but not a lot of heat. We had Esfinge, I think that's how you pronounce it, defeating Drew Gulak in 9:25 with a surprise cradle, so a bit of a shock victory for the man newly back up from developmental. He was asking to come up, so I felt like it was a good opportunity to do so. So he picks up the win. B-71, not really over this year, but as I say, leads to the bigger picture. Because after the match, he celebrates his win. Gulak attacks him. Out comes Bobby Fish. Now this is something I've been teasing on Raws, not on the pay-per-views, but obviously Killer O'Reilly going to New Japan. Bobby Fish is a babyface, was really feeling, needs a bit of a change, and he's been convinced to form an alliance for a tag team, Drew Gulak. So it's C plus 67. and the turn was a complete success. So there we go, nice wee tag team. Any ideas for that tag team name, let me know. Next up, we had decent wrestling. Didn't have much heat. Saw King Neville defeat Mustafa Ali in 14-18 with a shooting star press. Nice B80 there. Much better performance from Neville as he looks to get back to the top of the division. No negatives, just struggle getting Mustafa Ali over, but Neville progresses. And then a decent matchup saw Shane Strickland pick up a rare win as he defeats Evan Bourne in 14-35 with the handspring back elbow. Got a crowd hotter, two decent performances there. Shane Strickland not suited to his gimmick, but a decent matchup there nonetheless. Not a bad first round. Anyway, after the first round matches, a little break. Decent matchup saw the team of Sarah Logan, Liv Morgan, Ruby Riott, Laurel Van Ness and Ronda Rousey beat Becky Lynch, Charlotte Page, the talented Rhea Ripley and Toni Storm in 1750 when Laurel Van Ness defeated Toni Storm. Really pushing Laurel Van Ness to try and get as many people into this main event scene as we can. So we're going to end up with 3 of the 4 horsewomen in there. We end up with Ronda Rousey in there. Riot Squad should be there. We only live once. Page, you name it, just putting as many people in there to really allow the women to have their own pay-per-views and establish good shows. But only negative, lack of hot associated storyline, which is a shame because there is 2 getting in there, but does the job, but it is in the card. On to the second round of the quarterfinals. Decent matchup saw Zack Sabre Jr. defeat Flamita in 9:40 with the senior stretch, another submission victory. So B80, probably what Zack Sabre Jr. needed, not really won a lot, but we all know how dangerous he is as he progresses to the semi-finals. Joining him there, and about to had subpar wrestling and little heat, we saw Mark Riddle pick up the win over Pavel Kurkin in a quick 3:36 match with a guillotine choke. The estranged weirdo Pavel Kurkin not successful here as he's made to tap out very quickly after playing some mind games, so a C-57 there. And yeah, back to developmental he goes. Then I have a quick tag match, and it was about that had decent wrestling and not a lot of heat. But it was Gran Metalik and Lince Dorado defeating TM61, or the Mighty. Maybe we should change that name. Bad influence in the revival in 13:36 when Gran Metalik defeated Scott Dawson with a corkscrew somersault senton bomb. B82, pretty happy with that. A lot of solid performances in there, but we are really pushing the 2 luchadors as we head forward. Next up in the quarterfinals, we had Mystique defeat Esfinge in 10:06 with a Guerrero special. 2 decent performers there. B81 does its job, no negatives, no real storyline attached to it, apart from, as I say, progression to the next round of the Cruiserweight Classic. We saw us have a decent match, and Shane Strickland picks up the win over King Neville in 11:44 with a handspring back elbow. B-74 here. Just having a look to see why. Poor gimmick, inconsistency, poor momentum. So despite the fact we've given him 2 wins now, Strickland still has that poor momentum and penalised being a short match, but it's probably what Shane Strickland needs, just a couple of wins to relaunch his career. We then have an angle. It's basically Shane McMahon in the ring with your semi-finalists, as of course Zack Sabre Jr. is going to be facing Matt Riddle and Mystique against Shane Strickland. So that's your final 4. One of these men will walk away as the Cruiserweight Champion and the winner of the Cruiserweight Classic. That was a B+83, so we can start our storyline and hopefully get a really good match in the final. Then had a decent matchup, and it saw Zack Sabre Jr. defeat Matt Riddle in 12:29 for another senior stretch. B-75 here. So it does its job. It's a short match, and that's always going to hamper the rating. But interesting, 2 submission specialists, and your road agent was the Big Show. The purpose here, Zack Sabre Jr. in the final. That's a hell of a big name, competing for that championship belt. And in the other match, decent matchup saw Shane Strickland defeat Mystique in 14:52. Mystique's first defeat A quick roll up, so a B82, storyline gains a bit of heat. Babyface against heel in the final, of course, Shane Strickland against Zack Sabre Jr. But the way I looked at it, it was a chance to rebuild a couple of guys who weren't really doing much for me, and it gives them a good opportunity going forward, in my opinion. So hopefully, rely on these guys to tear the house down. So good match there. Just Strickland's gimmick, so obviously change that after the show. Final itself was decent. We just went straight in it, so Strickland was a bit tired. It unfortunately didn't go as well as I hoped. Only a B79 rating. But Zack Sabre Jr. picks up the win in 22-17 by submission with another senior stretch. He is your winner of the Cruiserweight Challenge, Classic, if I get my words together, it's a lot of C's. Cruiserweight Classic winner, and also the Cruiserweight Champion. So I just felt dropping him down gives him something to do. He can have a good run in that division, and as I say, it should hopefully relaunch both these guys who needed a bit of momentum, and they've certainly got that now. So that's good to see. B79 could have been better, but hopefully a rebirth of two careers in the Cruiserweight division. Zack Sabre Jr. celebrates to a B+85, good to see. And disappointing co-main, this was meant to hopefully steal the show to give us a good rating. We did a decent matchup that saw the Magnificent Seven members, Marty Scurll, Walter, Marcel Barthel, Switchblade and Will Ospreay defeat Chad Gable, Kota Ibushi, Jey Uso, Okada and Bo Dallas in 2035 when Barthel defeated Bo Dallas by pinfall. I'm going to assume there was a storyline involved. See how that's flopped so badly. A few skill improvements is always good to see. And I always thought that storyline was sitting at a B+, so I don't see why that shouldn't have dragged this along. So disappointed, but we do still have two more matches. Despite this being the Cruiserweight Classic and that match already being, there is still two more matches to go. Just to keep everybody on the card, to keep them happy. B+86, promo from Ambrose and Rollins as they are about to take on My Generation. Of course, Noam Dar and Pete Dunne. The big feud between basically a lot of superstars and the Magnificent Seven. And the match itself, unbelievable. Good wrestling match, decent reaction from the crowd. Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose defeat My Generation in 22:02. Seth Rollins defeated Noam Dar with a Phoenix Splash. It's one of the kind of feuds we're hoping takes Dunne and Dar up to the main event, and it's always good to see Rollins and Ambrose back together, and just perfect, excellent. The storyline's ticking along. Main event, Fergal Devitt cuts a promo on Adam Cole. Obviously a bit of feuding going on the SmackDown side of things. Your new World Heavyweight Champion against one of his contenders. And that match could have been a bit better, admittedly. But a great wrestling match nonetheless, and good heat. As Fergal Devitt, Samoa Joe, the Velveteen Dream, Tommaso Ciampa, and The Miz defeat Adam Cole, Daniel Bryan, Sami Zayn, Ricochet, and Johnny Gargano, when Samoa Joe beats Gargano with a muscle buster. So the telling story here is Joe is after Okada. Obviously Okada not in this match, but it's still showing, he can take everybody down. He's always going to be a dangerous threat. And in terms of ratings, everywhere into the 90s, apart from The Miz. So 3 storylines extend there. Delighted with that. Just a few negatives, inconsistencies, declining physical ability. But overall, B+85, so we lose a lot more in terms of the rating because of the continual use of Matt Riddle in the extended matchup that Walter was in, but we don't lose pop, so at the end of the day, it may be a lesser rating than we've been getting, but hopefully in the long term it helps a Matt Riddle, it helps a Walter, and it helps Zack Sabre Jr. So we'll compliment them. We're more so, when we go to the main screen, going to check the overness of the competitors that maybe made the last 4. As you notice with the World Grand Prix, it can certainly make or break a competitor's overness on the basis of a win in the big stage. So Toni Storm is more nervous the more she gets pushed, which is awkward because she's probably going to have to push to the main event in the next year or so. Nothing there, I don't think. Ricky Marvin, Bound for Glory was on, 12,412 fans to that. see who they drew. The Adel Texano Jr. versus Yosei Tatsu, the Impact Heavyweight Championship. Oh well, imagine paying for that. Anyway, Sean Morley's back just as a development trainer, that's fine, just concluding that deal. We're trying to keep Paige in a long-term deal. We should have enough to keep her ahead of, I don't know, she's only considering us big money, but another one that will get a big push in the future. So, Sabre Jr., Shane Strickland, of course, fatigue, Jack Gallagher unhappy, 46.21 on the network, and Mystique doesn't like Mustafa Ali, sells like crap. Pete Dunne agrees, and Fergal Devitt continues to big up Switchblade Jay White. So the only thing we really need to check out of this one is, one thing that's pleasing to see, there's not many morale issues because of that show for people missing it. So we'll get these guys happy, that shouldn't be a problem. Barrett's back, there's plans for him, not as an active competitor, but you'll see that down the line. Yeah, we'll just quickly dive in. So the three people I wanted to check, Zack Sabre Jr., 80. So I don't think he's actually gained anything there. Gained 3 over on this, I say, a long way from where he was, but it means he's got a chance to make that division his own. He's a Cruiserweight champion. Volter is still at 46, so there's a long way to go with Volter, but I just felt like it was the perfect guy to bring in. We only brought him into the mod in January in-game, so a few months in Lucha Underground, and he wanted to take him up, so we'll continue a mega push to get him up with his friends. Shane Strickland, 75 over, so he's pretty much actually dropped, probably because of losing that main event, but still, it gave him a few wins, that's what he needed, and we're probably going to move him over to the SmackDown brand to chase after Zack Sabre Jr. And the last one I just wanted to show was basically Marcel Bartel. You can see here, 84s, 83s, 85, and that's another one that's just skyrocketed with a push. So not long ago, he was on NXT, by the way, when he was 60 over. Good push in NXT, a lot of victories, a couple of good storylines in the main roster. Boom, IC champ, probably going to be a main eventer within the next year. So that is it for this episode, guys and girls. I hope you enjoyed it. Deeply appreciated if you stick around for the whole show. Basically, next up is the Tag Team Invitational. So if you want to let me know who you think is going to win that, I'm not going to give away any tag teams. Could we maybe see some former tag teams return? That's all I'm going to say. Or it'll be some of our present tag team champions. Could be a possibility. But let us know what you think. And yeah, hopefully it's a hell of a show. And hopefully it's enjoyable. So until then, that'll be next Sunday. I'll catch you real soon. Bye bye.